guys, it's Steph. Just kind of sitting here before I go see my horse. We just got three new ones at the stable. Other boarders brought two horses and a thoroughbred mare. So I get to hang out with some newbies and I can't wait. But anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Ryan Johnson and that fanfic that was stolen off of, uh, well, it looks like it was stolen off of an archive of our own. Um, I find fascinating that this thing, written by someone called Street Solo, uh, was so popular 60,000 views. And a lot of people are like trying to figure that out. And I'm like, well, if you like something, you see it over and over again. And or you read it over and over again. And um, the thing is, I'm going on my computer too right now, just so whatever. The thing is that a lot of those views might be repeats. You tend to do that. I've read Watership Down a dozen or more times. I've read The Winds of War a dozen or more times. I've read all of Tolkien's a dozen or more times. C.S. Lewis, The Chronicles of Narnia a dozen or more times. So the idea that these were all 68,000 different viewers is kind of mind-boggling. It's also a million words for a fanfic. I mean, come on. So anyway, but the funny thing is all of the stuff between Ren and Ray, Ray's lineage, uh, when drunks have never ever been something that Star Wars has never talked about. Uh, it's an interesting uh, it's an interesting uh, story, but it's also not Star Wars. Let's go to Movie Pilot. I'm going to read this article, and the reason why this bothers me so much is that I think that they were marketing a different movie, um, and and it's from Adam Driver. It was in Brit GQ, but Movie Pilot um, went and ran with it. So let's talk about it. What did Adam Driver say? Adam Driver begins discussing the layered approach Lucasfilm is taking to the sequel trilogy characters. He explains that his villain, Kylo Ren, is essentially a vulnerable kid who doesn't know where to put his energy. What the fuck? Okay? He's a nutcase, kill him. But then he goes and talks about the same concept applies to Rey. You also have the hidden identity of this princess, and we've got a. Come on. Come on. Oh boy. I love it when it does this. I'm sorry. Um, it's the hidden identity of this princess who is hidden on Jakku for her own good. Then we have Ray Nobody. So I feel like the actors were told to market it a different way. And then we have a fan fiction that suddenly shows up and sounds just like what Ryan Johnson did. Now, am I saying Ryan Johnson did it? Did he steal his fanfic? I don't know. Um, I do find it fascinating that other movies have done it. I do find it fascinating that they went the lazy route instead of going original, and they can sit there and explain in a way that they are original, but they're not. I don't see them being original at all in this, and my sense is they took the easy way out. So did he steal the fanfic? And yeah, I think he did. I think he did it. I think he he stole it. I'm gonna say it right now. I think that that whole relationship, that whole forced texting thing or whatever they want to call it, Ray's lineage, among other things, are not from the Star Wars story group. They are definitely from uh, a fan fiction writer, unless the story group put that thing on an archive of our own and wanted to get a sense of of where Ray Nobody and that stupid relationship Raylo would go. Uh, which, makes sense. I mean, but then you think, well, 50 Shades of Grey, mommy porn, uh, was a fanfic about a vampire thing. It's really funny. If they just took this, if Ryan Johnson took this fanfic and ran with it, they are literally trying to get an audience that really is no longer viable because the vampire thing, that whole genre, is dying now. Even it looks like to me, the zombie thing is dying now. It's like everything's like liquid and fluid again. So they didn't go the easy route, which was to actually write a Star Wars movie, give her a lineage, give her the lineage that Adam Driver and Brit GQ alluded to, a princess that is in hiding for her own safety. Now you could go anywhere with that. Okay, she's Luke's daughter. You could give Laura Santeca for a reason for being on Jakku, not too far away from where she was living. Um, she was abducted from Jakku by Ren and put there and lied to by him. You could do anything with that, but no, we've got to go someplace where Star Wars has never gone, that is not canon, that is not that doesn't make any sense for an audience, a small uh, minority in the audience that uh, is really not viable or relevant. The Raylos aren't viable or relevant. So I don't know what they thought they were thinking. I don't know. And it goes to Ridley Scott saying, they wouldn't hire me because I'm too dangerous. They're not going to hire somebody like Steven Spielberg because Spielberg would want to make his movie. And since Kathleen Kennedy spent so many years working for him, working with him, I can't see her butting heads with the former boss. Especially when, in different times, you've seen her kind of take responsibility for things in Jurassic Park, etc., etc., etc. Uh, and there was actually, I mean, and here's something else I heard. Just today, it came out that the reason why they quit the EU is because a novel came out during the EU in 1999 where Chewbacca got killed by a moon falling on him. All right, first off, instead of killing the EU, why was the novel tolerated? All right, you don't publish something like that. Or you tell, the writer, who's probably a pretty creative guy or girl, come up with a better plot device. Okay, because that's just stupid. But no, instead of streamlining the EU, they totally trashed it. Now, my theory is, did Disney do it because they didn't want anything of Lucas in their Star Wars, or did they just do it because uh, they didn't want uh, that taint of that stupid novel in their Star Wars? I think it probably is they didn't want anything that had to do anything with Lucas at all, because they not only divested themselves of the EU, which had some great stories, um, they divested themselves of Lucas's uh, three film trilogy that he had put the outlines out there for, which is not surprising and disappointing. Um, so what we have is not Star Wars. What else do I want to talk about? They've got Ryan Johnson out there alone defending himself. Kathleen Kennedy's nowhere to be seen. She's gone. I mean, she's gone to ground. God knows where she is. Uh, the Solo trailer has not been seen. It was rumored to come out tomorrow or yesterday, and no one, it didn't come out. Um, you know, and that movie is rumored to be pretty much a big boondoggle. Guy can't act. Alden Ehrenreich can't act. Um, the apparently the script was unwieldy. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is what you do. This is what happens when you allow people who aren't creative, who have no incentive to logically, follow certain guidelines, the reins to something, and they have a political agenda. Okay, because that's what Star Wars has become, a political agenda. Uh, I had a millennial ask me how I feel about race. I go, I don't care. Okay, Blueberry, I don't give a fuck. I don't care if you're green with chartreuse spots, as long as it fits the story. Diversity has no place in a story if it's there just for diversity's sake, okay? All right? You know, Star Wars was pretty good when it had Lando, who was a very strong black character, Mace Windu, who was a very strong black character. But when you shove people into a story just because they're black, they're Asian, they're Latino, they're women, they're LGBTQ, XYZ, whatever the fuck, I don't know what they're labeling themselves this week. Uh, it where do you take the story? Okay, tell the fucking story. Sorry for swearing. Okay, this is not for work, right? Um, but you gotta tell the story, and if you don't, you're not doing anybody any good, and you're ruining the creative flow. You're ruining everything that makes what you're trying to do work, aren't you? You know, I don't care about Admiral Haldo being a woman. I care that she was there as strictly as an LGBTQ XYZ flip friggin' A, I don't know, character shoved into a spot she didn't belong. Okay? I care that Poe was reduced from being an almost interesting character to a clown. I care that Finn, his whole story was a side car chase with an Asian girl, and and that whole thing went nowhere. You know, his whole story had no bearing on anything else in The Last Jedi, because what it should have done was dovetailed into Rey and Ren, like The Empire Strikes Back had, with Han and Leia being captured on Cloud City by Vader, Luke showing up, and everything coming to fruition at the end, everything coming together. Instead, we got, oh, they're here and there. Okay, what the f, And I've gone. I think I've talked ad nauseum about Luke. Okay, and what they did to him, what they did to Han, what they did to Leia. Leia's Supergirl. Excuse me. That was just dumb. Okay, that was just stupid. Um, but it's just it's ridiculous. And now it comes out, and more people are realizing that yes, it is probably this. At least major plot points are probably uh, a stolen fanfic. It makes all the sense in the world. And the fact that they marketed it looked like to me a different movie. The only one who was saying, you're not probably not going to like what you see is Mark Hamill, and he was right. Okay, so let's talk about a completely different thing because today Blade Runner 2049 is arriving. Yay! I can't wait. I am gonna rewatch it tonight. I loved it. I know it didn't make a lot of money at the box office, and I don't know why. It was a beautiful, beautiful movie. Well done, well crafted from beginning to end. Uh, Ryan Gosling was magnificent, and Harrison Ford was brilliant. And it was heartbreaking. And just, it made sense when you look at the first movie. And it just had a feel of real gravitas that Last Jedi did not have at all. Last Jedi wasn't even a good, well, couldn't even compare to the Star Wars special. You know, I mean, here's this is my comparison of the Last Jedi. The Last Jedi is to film what the Pinto was to cars. Okay, it's just a disaster. Okay, and this beautiful movie, Blade Runner 2049, is something that is so unique. And sequels, because it works, it's different, but it's a continuation of the story, and it works. And it tells this timeless tale about what it means to be human. So I'll give more of an opinion about that tomorrow, after I see it again. But I just wanted to come back and just kind of blather on for a little while, uh, and just say, hey, you know what? Don't be surprised that The Last Jedi is a fanfic. Don't be surprised that you haven't seen Kathleen Kennedy. Uh, don't be surprised that Ryan Johnson's out on a limb right now. Uh, don't be surprised that they're making excuses now for destroying the EU. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, I think, at Lucasfilm. So, don't be surprised by anything that happens, hirings, firings, people taking golden parachutes and getting out because of this monumental mess. And, don't be shocked by the 92% drop in China. Uh, the Chinese are at least politically incorrect enough to say, you people insulted our intelligence. They speak for a lot of us, all right? So this is Steph signing out. I'll see y'all later. Have a good day and see you around the galaxy.